Hey, what's up? This is Zach here at the Consensus Conference in Toronto. Super excited speaking with Arthur, co-founder of Tezos. How are you doing today?
I'm all right. How are you?
Fantastic. Great to be speaking with you.
Thank you. Likewise.
So I would love to kind of get into the different projects that you're working on today. Obviously, we have Uranium, we have some others that are being built within kind of the ecosystem. What are you most excited about or bullish on right now in the Tezos ecosystem?
Well, these are different things. I mean, I think excitement is a very personal thing, and I'm an engineer at heart. I'm excited about technology, so I'm really excited about the technological roadmap to Tezos X, which is a massively scaled layer 2 built on top of Tezos. That's also great for developer adoption because it lets you use JavaScript, Python, Java, all programming languages. So it's a new development environment for developers. I'm really excited about that. That's where the excitement is for me.
I love to hear that you're an engineer at heart because I think we need more real builders in Web3, not less hype. So I think that's absolutely wonderful.
You're right, but we also need more adoption. I mean, that's true for Tezos, that's true for everything else. And the problem is this is an industry that's over a decade old and it is still in search of very meaningful use cases. There are some. I think stable coins have demonstrated real product market fit. People buying and selling tokens, that's the main use case of the industry. But we need to go beyond. And I thought this is why it makes Uranium so interesting, is because this is an asset class that everyone has heard about. Almost everyone has heard of Uranium. And that you could not easily buy and sell before we launched Uranium.io.
Very cool. And for those who don't know, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Uranium.io is a platform where you can go and buy physical uranium. So you get beneficial ownership in physical uranium. So it's uranium oxide or U3O8, which is deposited with Cameco here in Canada. And it's as easy as a few clicks.
Very cool.
It's a DeFi-like experience, but for a real product.
How big is RWAs to Tezos right now? How much is what you guys are focused on?
We were pioneers in this space because in 2019, the foundation was part of a lot of security tokens. That was the name at the time. A little bit of a difference with RWAs, and so it's always been part of the DNA, I would say, of the ecosystem to have this focus on real things.
How has it evolved from 2019, I think you said, to 2025?
I think in 2019, people had this idea that blockchains were primarily going to be a distribution vehicle for primary offerings, right? They were like, oh, there's a bunch of wealthy people on the chain that just made a lot of money. I bet all of these people who made money making these crazy technological bets on some cryptocurrency, I bet what they want is to buy real estate. Not necessarily, right? And so people were treating them mostly as a distribution mechanism. Now, there are advantages to doing it on blockchain. You have lower friction. I think the main difference is a focus on secondary markets as opposed to primary markets. So this is why the dominant RWAs today are stablecoins, money market funds, this type of things. They are big asset class with lots of liquidity, and it's convenient to have them on chain as opposed to I want to raise money for a particular venture or projects.
Why focus on uranium?
Because it's a big asset class, everyone's heard about it. So you can actually have the potential for liquidity because you're not fragmented over a dozen or 100 projects, right? So you can have concentrated liquidity in one asset class. Everyone has heard of it. And unlike tokenized gold, you can buy gold anywhere. You can buy physical gold. You can. There's just so many. Yeah, you can buy gold at Costco. That's the one thing where they don't have the return policy. But you can buy uranium anywhere. You needed $4 million to buy uranium.
Very cool.
Sometimes people say oh, is it even legal to own uranium? Yeah, you can own uranium. If you want to take delivery, it's possible. You need to be licensed. So, it's a very small subset of people who have the proper licenses to actually take physical delivery. But, the ownership is, it's fine. And despite that, it was just not a good established market for it.
Very cool. I kind of wanted to ask you about your journey because you've been in crypto obviously a long time, built some amazing companies. What would you wish that you could tell your younger self that you know now?
Oh, so many things, it's with a few bits. I think if you can send a few bits of information in the past, you can transform the entire world.
Yeah, true.
On the topic, I would say, I think my younger self, early on in the journey of Tezos, I think I was very, very focused on let's really, really build, this is a platform play. Let's really, really build a platform. And I would say, no, build a vertical.
Can you explain more on what you mean by that?
Yeah, I think the thing is the vertical stack wallets, for example, that has a lot of distribution power, more so than blockchains. People today, they're not users of blockchains, they're users of wallets. They're not users of blockchains, they're users of dApps. And especially as the technology gets commodified, the distribution channels become more and more valuable.
What do you think right now is the most valuable distribution channel in Web3?
It remains centralized exchanges
I agree.
And wallets.
Do you think that's going to be a shift in the next 5-10 years?
I mean, I think the shift has already occurred, and you'll see, like, if you look by revenue, like what people call like chain revenue, which are transactions being paid. I think we had like a high point at some point with like, when Ethereum got very expensive in 2021 and everyone wanted to use it. But every chain is scaling. Tezos first, because we're doing it better.
Let's go.
But every chain is going to scale. The price per transaction is going to go very, very low. And the revenues of exchanges have dwarfed the so-called like revenues of the chains. So that's a big, that's already the case.
For kind of the Tezos community who's watching this, what do you think they should be most excited about coming out in the next 6 months, a year on the roadmap?
There's a lot of exciting new things coming out. So we have Etherlink now, which is a layer 2 built on top of Tezos, which is EVM compatible. And that has unlocked a lot of integration because a lot of the crypto industry still runs on the EVM and is interoperable with that. So it's kind of a way to access everything. Now, the Tezos environment, Mikkelsen, everything we build in Tezos, that's better than EVM, right? It's not as popular, but it is better. So how can we get the best of both worlds? And what we're doing is we're building Tezlink, and Tezlink is also a rollup, but it's based on Tezos technology and is going to mesh into Etherlink. So you'll be able to have all the connectivity that is granted by Etherlink. Because you want to talk to a custodian, they want to support an EVM chain. It's it's like a config file change for them. It's very, very cheap. They still charge you for it because that's their business model. But it's, it costs them nothing to support it. But at the same time, your application in Mikkelsen, in the Tezos environment, can still live on this rollup and have all the benefits from it. And then also the launch of Justice, which is a JavaScript-based rollup, which gives you a real JavaScript environment, like a node-like environment where you can use NPM and all of that to launch on as part of this. So we're going to have a bit of a flurry of these things launching, and then consolidation leading to Tezos X. So I think that's super exciting to watch.
What was the last thing? Tezos what?
Tezos X.
What's that?
So that's a massively scalable roll-up built on top of Tezos. The idea being you want to have a separation of concern where the L1, and today you can validate the Tezos L1 with just a Raspberry Pi. Like it still works. And despite that, it still does like decent TPS, but like it's very, very cheap to validate the Tezos L1. We want to keep it that way. And at the same time have a roll-up build on top of that supports all programming languages and can do millions of transactions per second.
Very cool.
In a single rollup, like not across like a dozen rollup funded by VCs with all of their different coins, none of that. Integrated ecosystem, no fragmentation.
What has been sort of the developers' reaction when you kind of told them about this, what you're building?
Oh, people are super excited. People love the prospect of like using the tool that they're used to in order to build there.
And kind of, I'd be interested to know, because you said you're an engineer at heart, correct me if I'm wrong, and how has your role kind of changed from the beginning till now? Are you still developing, doing engineering stuff? I mean, you're here doing interviews right now. I mean, what is that like?
I mean, there's a great engineering team working on the core of Tezos across many entities. There's a lot of like contributors. I think like over the past few years, I did a lot of R&D, which was like figuring out how to scale. Mm-hmm. And I think we know how to scale. I don't think there's like that many open problems left in the space of scaling. There's some, right? But it's limited. So yeah, I would say almost mission accomplished. It needs to be implemented. It needs to work flawlessly. So there's still a lot of engineering work. But in terms of like architecture, I think we know how to do it.
So kind of looking into the current state of how everything is going in Web3, I think you mentioned that there's still most on Ethereum and EVM is like still a focus. Do you see that continuing to be the case where you sort of need to have an EVM component, or do you think there's a way that projects can, how important do you think that is?
There's a way with it shouldn't. The last people that got away with it were Solana.
Yeah.
And there was like a decade-billion-dollar fraud that basically like pumped so much money in Solana that they managed to like pass this thing and like have enough integration. But yeah, I mean, anyone who launches a new blockchain today would be foolish not to have like, you don't have to be all EVM, right? But I would say you have to have a projection into an EVM set of APIs, so that you get like easy integration with exchanges, custodians, wallets, and all of that. It's worth having, even though it's like objectively not a very good system. Like I don't think the APIs for Ethereum or the EVM are particularly good, but if it's very widespread, that makes it good. And the same thing with JavaScript, right? JavaScript is not a good language, but there's just so much built around it, so much tooling, so much integration that more than compensates for the flaws of the language.
Very cool. So we're at the consensus event here. We're super grateful to be media partners, and we want them to share out this video to their audience. So I would ask you, what do you see the value is in coming to these kind of in real life events?
I think like exposure. More people hear about Tezos, about the cool thing that's going on. I would say there's like still a bit of a delta between like what people imagine Tezos is about and what's actually going on in the Tezos ecosystem.
What do you think
what's that
delta? What is that gap?
Well, I mean, a lot of people don't know that we have an EVM compatible rollup built on top of Tezos. A lot of people don't know that you can buy Uranium. So a lot of things don't know yet, and so it's a good way to close that gap, and also like see what everyone else is up to.
Very cool. Any AI infrastructure or projects coming to Tezos?
Yeah, there's a couple of ones, specifically in the arts, generative art space.
Oh, very cool.
So like stay tuned for that.
Okay, awesome. Gaming is growing and growing in Web3. Obviously, there's Uranium-based game on Tezos. How important is gaming to Tezos right now?
Yeah, so the Uranium-based game on Tezos was like an overnight hit. It has 100,000 monthly active users right now.
That's crazy.
It's a simple clicking game, right? And it's still just addictive, right? So try it. It's on geturanium.io. We've had a few games over the years on Tezos. I think we're still iterating to like hit the right formula. I remain convinced it's a core use case for Web3, and that gaming is here. And so we continue our gaming efforts, and there's going to be some games coming on Tezos soon.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Arthur, for the fantastic interview. I encourage you all to check out Tezos, see what they're building on EVM. There's a lot going on there that I think, as we mentioned, people just don't know about yet. So dive in, dig in deep, and let's learn together. So thank you so much for the fantastic interview.
Thank you.
Hey, what's up?
But it's not something Genzio is afraid of.
If you want to survive, you got to build a hive.
We do not understand that we do not want. Ladies and gentlemen.
We're back at the Genzio Media House.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us today.